hamster stuff on me. Hello, people. My lighting is really off, or probably my makeup, one of the two. I don't really get on YouTube to be glamorous. Actually, this is like old makeup from the day. I could have freshened it up, but I'm not here to be seen. I'm here to be heard. I'm actually liking YouTube Live a little bit better than the other options that I've been using. So I might cancel my membership to a couple of things. I'm working on a book right now. So actually, doing the lives and doing all the conversations that I've been doing, it actually helps me to talk out my thoughts for my book so that, I can kind of deliver people a more concise experience. There we go. Lighting's a little off, but oh well. So we're talking about alpha and beta people on the internet. And if you caught my podcast, I was talking about this from the female side, alpha and beta females. And you got to catch that podcast because it was really fun doing it. But I just felt like I replayed it and I'm like, wow, people could really benefit and have a good time benefiting from this podcast. So if you have not caught that one, Alpha and Beta Females Exploring the Traits with my friend Brittany and myself, check that out. I mean, we had so much fun on there. We even, after we talked about it, it was just like, we definitely want to do something like that again. But as I explored that conversation with my friend Brittany, I started thinking about all the interactions that I have online with different individuals that comment on my posts, that comment on other people's posts. And, one of the things, or a couple of the traits of the alpha and beta that I kind of isolated and it kind of sticks out to me in this conversation is I'll go with the alpha side first. Alpha people are very confident. They're very self assured. They're very self aware. They're very driven. They don't really cleave on to other people to actualize themselves. So their value is definitely known to them before someone else really provides it to them. These individuals are typically the go-getters in the workplace. They're the ones that maybe drive strategy. They're the idealists, and they're very individualistic. Whereas you have your beta personalities who are more altruistic. They need a sense of belonging somewhere. They're not really crowd pleasers like the alpha. They're very emotional and they get emotionally attached, and they often need validation from the people around them. And these traits, in my opinion, are kind of important when we dealing. And there's so many other different personality traits, but I find that the alpha and the beta are more prominent in society today. And I kind of look at the beta personality individuals as the activists that we see in the society today. These are the individuals who are very passionate about the problems of other people. They kind of hold those problems, on their shoulder. But really, these individuals are really individuals that lack self actualization, and they are looking to the problems of other people almost as a crutch to deal with the issues that they're dealing with. And you see these people online, they're the ones who, when they see something that they can't agree with, instead of them being objective, and instead of them stepping away from themselves and their problems and what validates them, they automatically just go on the wild, and they start, usually they're the name callers. Like, you can spot a beta person online because they're the ones who, when you go back and forth with them and their point is looking too weak, what they do is typically they'll turn into grammar Nazis and deflectors. Well, they'll start going off on a different point because they can't prove the point that they previously stated and was rebutted in a successful way. Or these individuals will start saying, well, you use, then instead of than, you know what I mean? Like they'll just turn into grammar Nazis. And that's how you know when you're dealing with a beta online, because these people aren't very objective at all. They're very emotionally driven in their responses, and they take everything personal. They take every post that somebody, whether they know them or not, personal. They internalize a lot of things. And betas also are your habitual meme posters. If you have a friend on your social media feeds that are constantly always posting memes, these individuals are validating themselves and or their problems vicariously through this, I call it meme therapy. You know what I mean? Because these are the things that these people believe, but these are things that these people can actually implement into their lives to make it better for them. And so I get into it with a lot of betas a lot these days because being a Black conservative, you know, I find that the Black struggle for many, specifically white liberals, it's a crutch for them. So when they run into a Black individual who is not addicted to racism like they are, or who's not scorned by racism like they expect for Blacks to be, every single Black to be, they start really, challenging you, reminding you of slavery and civil rights and all the things that your people have gone through, but they can never give you a modern day example outside of echo chamber rhetoric that they done heard some Black person cry to them. So it's really easy to reveal, to be honest with you, a beta liberal, because they are addicted to arguments of racism. They are so committed to them because I look at them like Edward Norton in Fight Club. If you ever seen Fight Club, Edward Norton's character, he had some mental health issues, but I think one of the things that people missed out in that movie is the fact that Edward Norton developed an addiction almost to going to support groups. Hey, how are you, Marshall? How are you? Good evening to you. I hope you enjoyed your day too. I'm just getting home and settled with my kids. Spent the day with my sister, and my sister, she's like the biggest grand hustler. It's like you go over her house and she can't even sit down. But, Fight Club was interesting because if you look at Edward Norton's character, he was addicted to going to support groups. And he was going, I think he went to a testicular cancer support group. He was just going through, I think what do they call a tourist? He was a tourist in these support groups. And I think that he even accused Helena Bonham Carter's character of being a tourist in these support groups. And when you put that in, retrospect, it's like this person was addicted to going to support groups to basically champion, take on the problems, assume the problems of other people who are organically going through something so that he could deflect from his own problems. And that's pretty much what I, look at, today's activists as. They're beta people who have not reconciled their own issues, their own insecurities. And these insecurities could stem from anything. It could be insecurities about, your capabilities to succeed in society. And, it's interesting because Joe Brown was on Kwame Brown's podcast yesterday, and he talked about the beta boys. And he said that these were boys back in the 1950s when he was going to college or whatnot. He talked about beta boys. And he identified beta boys as white men who cannot make it in a white man's world. And I thought that was an interesting thing that he said because I never really thought about that concept before of there being beta boys in the world today, white men who cannot make it in a quote white man's world. And, when I think about these types of white men, I automatically thought about the white men who are insistent upon convincing other white men who reject critical theories that they're racist. Like, oh, if you say that you're not racist, you're really a racist. Like, they come up with all kinds of stupid things, these white guys to white guys, to convince them that they're racist. And at the end of the day, these are just beta boys who are addicted to the struggles of Black people because they cannot reconcile whatever it is about them that they're insecure about. Or, maybe they feel some slight in society, for whatever reason. But, I actually wrote an article, and if you're not a member of my website, I definitely, if you're looking for a social platform that will give you a intelligent perspective where you can sort of engage with a different viewpoint, I definitely encourage you to join my website. It's www.theintellectualsthought.corner. There's blogs, there's thought groups you can join. It's free, but I do approve all of my members before you can actually officially join, because I just don't want a bunch of passionately ignorant people on the thing. Bro, take Incredible Hulk out of here. I didn't know he made all that noise. Yeah, he's lighting up and everything. That's what's up. But if you go onto my blog, I wrote a blog, and let me scroll down, and I'm going to pull it up for you so that I can go over it, because it was talking about the Black struggle addiction. And I'm actually still working on part 2 of that article, talking about the Black activists. But on the white activist side, I want to see if I can just grab this up. I didn't intend to share this, but I was talking about and why they are addicted to Black. And I find that a lot of white men, there's some characteristics about, okay, here it is, the Black struggle. So go onto my blog, and you can find this at your leisure, where you can read it. But I want to just go over some points that I wrote about. And these are, my own personal opinions, so I'm not, by no means telling anybody that what I'm saying is factual. But I feel like, this is just my critical theory about, a lot of these arguments. Uh-oh. I'm glad I get to see my site outside. My internet working all right? Oh no. Sorry, guys. Here we go. It's a long article, but there's a couple of things that I want to point out. And you guys may know somebody that is like this. So it's the Black Struggle Addiction. It's a series. Part 2 will be coming out soon, but this part 1 focuses on the validation vicariously through activism, and I focus on the white activists. And I go into the article by saying, has anyone ever said to you during a tough time, there's always someone worse off than you? For some, those words may ring sensitive and dismissive of their challenges. Eventually, however, they will accept the rationality of the words and put their challenges into perspective to make progress. Others, on the other hand, may embrace those words to the extent of becoming an activist for people that experience struggles and trauma as a ways to distract from addressing their own. This blog focuses on the latter group and their possible addiction to Black struggles, more defined in part 2. Specifically, individuals that may suffer from white guilt or low self-esteem. By exploring the notion of an addiction to social activism, this blog will suggest that many white activists may have formulated addiction to Black struggles as a means to elevate themselves or distract from their deficiencies. A correlation is made between the euphoria and rewards experienced from drug use to those experienced during activism. To further demonstrate the addictive possibility of activism and why the Black struggle is an ideal addictive cause, it will also review why the existence of Black struggle may be validating to this group, causing them to function vicariously through the struggles of Black people. Lastly, a social theory will be introduced that is just food for thought, but merits exploration from social scientists and psychologists. And that's the one where I talk about what I consider to be the insecure activist syndrome theory. And I'm not going to go into that particular part, but I want to go into some of the reasons why some white beta type individuals may be addicted to the struggles of Black people. One being lack of definition of self and direction, low self esteem, thirst for social acceptance, unresolved issues with parents, maybe abandonment or emotional neglect, born into a cycle of poverty, not white privilege, or a life of too much access, expectation, white privilege. A friend group with the same issue as mentioned in items 1 and 2, birds of a feather flock together. And the seventh is family members with supremacy ideas that have strived to remove themselves from white guilt. So, beta individuals, on the internet, when they're beta white individuals, specifically beta white men, when they're arguing about the Black struggles with Black people, I personally feel like these individuals are doing that not because they truly believe that every single Black person struggles the same in this country. I think they do it because they need every Black person to struggle the same in this country. Because if you are an individual that's holding on to Black struggles, if you're that beta personality that is crutching on to other people's problems, then the Black struggle is ideal for you because it seems endless. It seems like no matter how society turns, Black people are still going to have issues in society. Therefore, this is an addiction or a cause that can always exist for a lot of these beta personalities. So when they run into Black people who do not believe the narratives and the arguments to the extent that they do, their inner racist typically comes out because they're that addicted to the struggles of other people. And so when I argue with people online back and forth and they try to challenge me about my own personal Black experience in this country, I'm really quick to tell these betas, like, yo, I was not a slave. My mama wasn't a slave. Her mama wasn't a slave. So what are you talking about? Why are you so addicted to me being addicted to civil rights that have been fought for and won for me? And all I need to do is use those civil rights the right way. I mean, I personally think that beta personalities don't realize that, first of all, I'm an alpha personality. So you're never going to tell me about me and my struggle. That's one. But two, they don't realize that, they're revealing themselves, their inner racist, possibly, by going back and forth with a Black individual that refuses to have this American experience that they're sold on to being addicted to because it makes them feel better about themselves. And I can say this with some Black liberals too, because some Black liberals, they're addicted to the struggle because it may be profitable for their relevancy, but it's also a way for many to deflect from their own accountabilities. And as an alpha person online, I find that, the addiction to altruism is almost, annoying to me because it's like, the first thing these liberals want to do is say, oh, yeah, I guess it's just so bad being sympathetic and empathetic. And it's like, no, I'm not saying that, Miss Beta. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that you need to put that stuff into perspective. You know what I mean? You have to have some level of balance to your thinking. And a lot of people aren't able to do that. And that's how their personalities come out, their insecurities come out online. You can say anything that you say about anybody that you may not agree with, but it's crazy because these people end up being the super mean people. They're the ones that you could try to have a reasonable conversation and they automatically start attacking you, calling you out your name, calling you out your name. Do you know how many white people, white betas online have called me Felicia? It's like, do you not realize that that's racist? People don't realize when you call people out of their names, especially some stereotypical name for that person, that's racist. That's a form of racism. I don't care if you're a liberal white or not. And liberal whites believe because they're so pro-black in their minds that they can't be racist. And it's like, hello, y'all, the most racist people in this, at least in this country. So let's not deflect here because I just turned conservative last year, and it's very shocking because when I embraced the conservative movement last year, um, I just started seeing everybody and taking in everybody in a more holistic and organic way. And I cannot believe how racist and committed to racism liberals are. And I cannot believe how beta in personality they are. Liberals are betas. Liberals are betas. Liberals are betas. I would say that most of your conservatives are alpha personalities. These are individuals who don't mind competing in the capital system. They're not insecure. They don't need somebody to hold their hand. They're the people that when you get a new job, they can hit the ground running, right? They can just get in there and just start taking care of business. I find that some of these liberal minded individuals, they're the ones that start a new job and it's like, well, is there going to be somebody that's going to mentor me for like at least 6 years until I can really get a grasp on this job? Is there going to be somebody that's going to be my friend? They go to work to make friends. Liberal beta types, they go to work to make friends. And if they don't make any friends, then their work experience isn't awesome. Because that constant need for validation. And that's what I'm realizing about people. And that's why, I've been able to fine tune my argument methodology with people too. And keep my own feelings and in place when I'm going back and forth with different people. It's like, I'm not gonna get like, you're a beta. You know what I mean? It's like, look at that. It's so cute because I'm the typo queen, right? So obviously, if I'm going back and forth and I'm using Google Voice Chat, voice to text, which is an epic fail. It's an epic fail. Like Google, instead of you spying on people half of the damn time and not letting people use your platforms because they don't want to, engage in spreading systemic groupthink, get your voice to text together because you're making me look stupid. And I don't like that, because I rely on my voice to text because I be communicating so much with people. It's like, I don't want to proofread everything. I'm sorry. But your liberal betas online, they will, if they cannot argue with you, they will start going with the name calling or they'll start grammar Nazis. If you ever run into a grammar Nazi online, just understand that is a beta person and you have won that argument. Congratulations. Like as soon as that person starts to correct your grammar, right? You won. You won the argument. When they start turning into that grammar, you won. When they start doing that, oh, so you just don't feel anything for anybody. That's a beta. That's a beta. They can't accept the therapy that you just gave them for free. That's it. And don't argue with them anymore. When you see somebody going so emotional in an argument online, just stop arguing with them. Because literally 9 times out of 10, you gave them some very therapeutic advice. It was the realest shit that they probably needed to hear, and they could not take it. That's what's happening online. You got a whole bunch of betas that need everybody else addicted to pain and victimhood and all that crazy stuff. And then when you get an alpha like me, that's like, you know what? And especially a Black African American woman alpha, it's like these betas hate me. They don't hate me. I don't feel like they hate me. They just probably think I'm like the meanest person ever. And it's like I'm not a mean person. You know, being real with people is a virtue these days, okay? I'm striving to be the most virtuous person that I can be without trying to elevate myself above everybody as if I'm smarter than them. I ain't trying to do that. You know what I mean? I try to be as raw and organic as I possibly can with people. You know what I mean? That's my whole MO. But they will try to turn you into something that you're not. They'll try to turn you into an attacker. You know what I mean? And if I was real, like, and this is where, some people might want to check out because this is probably going to be the realest stuff. Like, maybe it's going to sound mean girlish, but it's like, the truth is, it's like, if you were to break these people down that are so passionately ignorant online responding, half of these individuals look in the mirror and they don't like themselves. Half of these people want to have somebody that they can't have because they may not look or have the personality that that person wants them to have. Half of these people are in a circle around maybe a bunch of alphas who are succeeding and everything just seems so easy for them. And that's not the case for them. So they're in their feelings. Like, these are the personalities that are online. You know what I mean? Facebook and Twitter, especially. That's beta land people. These people go onto these platforms looking for validation. These people go on to these platforms looking for somebody to vent their insecurities out on. You know what I mean? When you're an insecure person or whatever, you still have power behind the screen saying really mean and obnoxious things to people to make yourself seem superior. Like, if a beta person, out argues somebody online or whatever, they feel this level of superiority or whatever, and it makes them feel good about themselves. That's why there are a lot of beta personalities that go online specifically to engage in discussion and disagreement in topics that maybe they know something about or have a lot of passion in. And if they can't match wits with somebody, then it just sends them into this angry turmoil, this angry tumultuous like sort of state where they feel like they have to sort of go to war to words with these person. But if they know what they're talking about, then it's like, oh my God, it's like the superior complex. So that's why I tell you guys, watch out for those betas. You know that you're dealing with a beta when you are having a logical conversation, number one, and they start going into unnecessary feelings and rhetoric. You're arguing with a beta online. You might want to stop it because you're gonna win, but you're kind of not gonna win because these people are addicted to feelings, irrational feelings, and they will keep irrational discussion going without even thinking about your sense of rationality. So it's a waste of time, to be honest with you. So don't go back and forth. Um, that's one. Two, the grammar Nazis. I'm calling them out. The grammar Nazis are beta people online. They're beta people online that can't match wits in an argument. So if I don't consider you as conservative as much, anti-stupid, anti-inflammatory, and no plan, no common sense. It's so funny. I feel like I'm an urban conservative, Marshall. That's the truth. I'm an urban conservative. I think everybody has their ideas of a conservative person. I'm an urban conservative. That means that I believe in intellectualism. I believe in um, conservative values. I believe in God. I believe in accountability to God. But I also believe in being free will myself. You know what I mean? And I think that you can be a conservative without having to have any affiliation with the Republican Party. You can be a conservative without feeling like you have to have this certain like holier than thou mindset. I think that, there's different layers to my idea of conservative because there are different conservatives, just like there's different liberals. There are liberals that are very much like Bible heads, and they believe that their mindset is the right way, and they try to live in a certain way and be accountable, and be accountable to God, just like there are some conservatives. So I think I'm on both sides, but it's interesting because I get that a lot. Like, you don't seem like a conservative, and then that's like, well, what is a conservative? And I find it to be more of an ideology about just how to do things. You know what I mean? Limited government, low taxes. You know what I mean? The free enterprise. I believe in those things, so therefore that's what makes me conservative in my mindset. Am I conservative in terms of if I'm going out with my friends? If I am I gonna be dressed up like what's the Flanders wife from The Simpsons? No, I'm not gonna be dressed like Ned Flanders' wife from The Simpsons. I'm a conservative woman, but I believe that a woman can be sexy and classy and have tattoos all over her body if she wants to, without being overexposing. You know what I mean? I think there's a divine balance to everything. And so as a woman that says I'm conservative, that doesn't say that I don't believe that at times I can be sexy and feel sexy. I'm not a prune. I get a lot of conservatives. I actually posted on LinkedIn. I posted on LinkedIn about is it okay for people to dress sexy yet classy at work without being distracting? And this lady says, well, this is a weird question for a conservative thought leader. And I'm just like, why? Why wouldn't, no, she goes, why would a conservative thought leader ask this question? And I'm like, why wouldn't a conservative thought leader ask this question? I'm asking if it is okay to wear clothes that is sexy yet classy in the workplace, because that is a very subjective question, and to say that a conservative should not ask a question like this. I'm like, who the freak would want to be a conservative if you can't ask simple questions like that in observation? Like, that's kind of lame. I'm a longtime conservative and I have never registered as a Republican. Go ahead, Joseph. Go ahead. Go ahead. And people think that all the time, that you conservatives, you just want, you're pandering to the Republican Party. And I'm like, do you understand that there are a lot of conservative minded libertarians? You know what I mean? And even at the heart of some liberal minded people, there may be a little conservative in them. Like, to be honest with you, one of my LinkedIn connections said it best. We are socially liberal, but we're fiscally conservative, right? When I consider myself conservative, I consider it a fiscal thing, not a character thing. Because, trust me, I get kicked out of the conservative club if it was a character thing. Seriously, I'm probably the most quirkiest, one of the quirkiest forces that you probably will encounter. Um, and if there was a standard for conservatism, I may not be urban, but I am totally aligned with you, and your rational labels suck. Thank you, Barshall. Thank you. I mean, labels suck to me. I mean, I think that, ideology is ideology. You know what I mean? Ideology is ideology. You know what I mean? And, I think, things that you can't control, really shouldn't kind of be labeled either. Like, I'm a woman. I'm a black woman, right? But, that does not encompass who I am. You know what I mean? Because as a black woman, I'm still capable of doing anything else. It's like, if anything, if somebody asked me to, name my favorite characteristic about myself, I don't think being a black woman would be one of it. Like, being black or a woman would be one of it. I think my favorite characteristic is that I'm a habitual thinker. I'm like a sponge. I just take in things, and Now it's even worse because it's like once you unchain your rationality and you get away from systemic group thinking, get out of the matrix of ignorance, you start thinking and making sense about so many different things. And that's kind of me. Like, I mean, I think if anybody say like, what is one thing you say about your identity, I'm like, I'm a chronic thinker, I'm a critical thinker. That's one of my qualities I like. But getting back to the alpha and the beta personality, my friend and I, we were talking about these personalities in relationships, and I had mentioned to her, and this is and this is about self-reflection. A lot of my relationships failed. Um, I had a hard time committing, and I would say I got commitment issues. Um, but I realized that without understanding what you're dealing with, and without setting the standard for what type of personality aligns best with you, you're going to probably always fail, or at least continue to fail until you get some level of understanding of what you want and expectations, right? So I was dating beta males, and I didn't realize that I was dating beta males because beta males, on a positive side, they can be very sweet, they can be very attentive, and they can be a lot of the things that women want. But they can also come with a feminist type characteristic about themselves where they need, that equally. They need validation and coddling, and all of those things that they that men typically will assert to a woman predominantly. They need it just as equally. You know what I mean? And so I find that when I'm in a relationship, I'm not the type of woman that I like. My man can be in the basement for hours. You know what I mean? And I'll just go to the door and be like, I love you, babe. I love you too. And that's it. We ain't need to be all cuddled up on each other. And then I'll go back to doing my thing. Or you may be in the basement doing a project or something like that. And I'm one of those people, I'm very comfortable with being in a relationship with somebody that doesn't need to be clinged on to me, or doesn't need to be in my presence like every second of the day, or doesn't need to text me all damn day when I'm trying to work or do something else. And I found that I was dating men like that. And before I realized what I wanted, I thought that those things were like sweet and this is awesome. He's very attentive but after a while it started to irk me because it became like this expectation of, hey, you didn't get back with me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working. I'm sorry about that. Hey, I called you the other day, and you didn't pick up like for 3 hours. And it's like, yeah, because I was working. And then they'll make it seem like you're not then they'll get into that whole like you're not considerate of my feelings thing. And it's like, well, why the fuck are you calling me during the workday anyways? Constantly. Why the fuck are you texting me throughout the workday constantly? And then I become a bitch because that is not a reasonable expectation that I personally have in a relationship. If I don't talk to my man from like, if I see you in the morning and we don't talk maybe until lunchtime and then maybe after work or something, that's cool with me. That's so cool with me. It's because I feel like there needs to be a balance of individualism in a relationship. But I find that beta men, they tend, and they always like alpha females. Like, it's so weird. And that's why I'm very, 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 very meticulous, because beta dudes love alpha females, but we don't work well with you. If you're a beta male, if any of the beta male points that I've been saying is hitting home to you, don't date an alpha female. Don't date a woman like me. I don't care how you may think this woman looks. Don't date her. Stay away from her. And it's not the fact that she's going to just mistreat you, but she's not going to give you what you want because she's not the person to give it to you. She doesn't come with the emotions and the mother type personality that you may want. And I think guys need to be realistic about that too. Even online, I can tell sort of a beta guy online versus an alpha guy. You know what I mean? Alpha guys, they tend to not hold back at all. Beta guys they will be like the sweetest things. They will like all your shit. It's just they'll obsess. If you're nice to them, they will just be like all over. And it's like, it's cool, 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 cool. Like all my stuff, love the support or whatnot. But then they'll be expecting things of you in return online, and you barely even know them. Like, hey, I liked your stuff, and I posted this thing, and I noticed that you didn't like it. Can you like it? And it's like, oh yeah, no problem. But then it becomes this weird relationship when you actually meet their expectation of what they want for you online. Then it becomes this thing where you didn't do this, like, and how come you're not liking my stuff? And it's just like, dude, get over yourself. It's just social media. Like, I mean, we're kind of like me personally, social media, and this is not, I'm not even kidding. I don't just sit there and scan social media all day. I literally have a thought in my mind, I'll post it, and then I'll go and then I'll check in, get notifications if I have like a hot topic. But it's like I am doing so many other things throughout the day in between social media. I don't, there's some people that get paid to just do this stuff. I don't get paid to just be on social media all day. I'm not quite sure if it's a job that I would want to have unless I was making stupid money off of it. But off that, to conclude, because I want people to start thinking about people in terms of alpha and beta. Alpha and beta, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, start thinking about the personalities that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with an alpha personality, an organic, true alpha, then you're dealing with me. All right. And if you're dealing with me, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to lie to you. But I am always going to tell you the real. Whether it's the real that you want to hear or the real that you don't want to hear, it's the real that you're going to need to hear. And I'm not going to hold back from that. Like, that's your alpha associate right there, right? Your beta associate is going to validate your feelings, right? And they're going to chime in and make you feel great about yourself, even when you possibly should be feeling shitty about being accountable for something. But that's neither here nor there. So again, when you're in a beta, when you're dealing with betas online, watch out for the grammar Nazis. Watch out for the overly emotional people. They tend to respond very passionately, ignorant to something very simple, just simple rhetoric. They do. Guys that don't realize that your young children need and deserve a mom, but you have no interest or desire to be their mom or help them past their arrested. I tell dudes that all the time. I am not your mom. I'm not your mom. And I'm not even trying to develop aspects of your character or your feelings that your mom should have done already. With my son, let me tell you something. My son, he gets in his feelings. I let my son tantrum. And I use key words with my son. Work that out. Figure it out. You know what I mean? Because I'm challenging my son to critically think about what's going on with him. I find that, and it's crazy because my son's dad, he's sort of an alpha beta, right? Where he's a mama's boy, and he's adjusted to women doing everything for him. And his mom had to, I guess he tattled on me for, going off on one time. And his mom, I guess, tried to play this mediator, right? And she goes, well, sometimes he gets a little upset. So you just have to, like, put your arm around him and pat him on the back and say, that's okay. It's going to be okay. And I was like, I'm not going to do that with your son. I don't even let my own kids tantrum. You think I'm going to let your grown ass son tantrum on me? No, 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 no. I cannot be. Your mama should have did the job. And if you were looking for a woman to be your mom, you need to date a beta female. Okay, beta females are right for that. Beta females are those empathetic. They're very empathetic. They're looking for those human project men that they can just inherit as their grown children. You know what I mean? On the flip side, though, beta females for men are clingers. They're stage 10 clingers. If you go out with your homeboys, you can forget about that after you get with a beta female. And that's the truth. You ain't hanging out with the homies because her insecurities are going to tell you that you're cheating on her and that you're going to be looking at somebody else. That's a beta female. If you got a woman that has a problem with you going out with your boys, she's a beta. One, she's a beta, or two, you have not secured your woman. Women don't just automatically think that their dudes are cheaters. Men typically give them reasons. So, I'm not gonna say that a woman that thinks that you're cheating when you go out with your boys is necessarily a beta, because she could be a woman that has been disrespected by you and now she don't trust you, and she needs to make sure that you are where you say that you are. So there, that's that. But that was my spiel with alpha and beta. Anybody got some questions? Anybody got a question about alpha and beta personality? You got experience with alpha and beta type people online? I know that, I try not to, betas get on my nerve in the internet space. And that's kind of where I know for Facebook and Twitter, I need to stay away from those platforms because those are very emotionally charged, insecure people. And a lot of times, and this is not being superficial or anything, but you can just look at people's profile pictures sometimes in connection to how they talk, and you're just like, you're a beta personality. D Wade is straight up a beta male. Do you think Gabrielle Union is an alpha female? Gabrielle Union is definitely an alpha female. She's definitely an alpha female. Um, there's a lot of reasons why I think Dwayne Wade is a beta male, but I also think that, he might have been into that Hollywood mix where the brother kind of got confused a little bit too along the way about some things. So, I definitely think when you got to, and it's interesting because black men, black beta men, and alpha females, they're the worst. And I'll tell you this: I dated a lot of black beta men, and I won't say a lot of them. I've only dated like maybe 3 of them, and it never worked out for me on my end because these men were actually threatened by my drive, my career drive, my career sense, my career hustle. And I found that these beta men did a good job at trying to elevate their frequency by keeping me on a lower frequency. So I go, this is my alpha man. See, this is the alpha. He's territorial. My son is very, very territorial. This is the alpha dude in my life right now because I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to date. Like like if he sees me talking to someone outside, he will call me by my government name, like Angie. Angie, like get inside. Like you don't need to be talking to that dude at all. But it's interesting. Like I think a good like when you think about couples though, like Jay-Z and Beyonce, alpha alpha. Alpha alpha couples work really well together. That's why I only like I know myself now dating wise, so I will only date an alpha male. I would date an alpha male because alpha males know how to deal with females like me, because I'm a woman that actually strive to want to respect my man. And it has always been hard for me to respect certain beta men. But I need an alpha man. I need a man that like I don't. It's not like I don't call like if I call my dude like that is so stupid, like dumb. Like why would you do that? You know what I mean? I want him to challenge me and say, "Don't talk to me like that." And a lot of women will like get all attacked and feel intimidated, and I'm just like, "Yes, sir. Yes, baby." I like a man that, can put me in check because I know that my mouth personally can get reckless, if something isn't going my way, and you're depending on the relationship. So, like for me, I need a beta man to keep me in check. And, I think that beta on beta relationships tend to I'm sorry, alpha on alpha. I need an alpha man, not a beta, please. No, no, no. Y'all go back into the beta land. But I think alpha on alpha relationships work really, really well. I find myself, even online, when I know another alpha female or another alpha person, because they're the ones that when I'm talking like hardcore truth, they're like, man, you were telling, like they can agree with it without putting their emotions or internalizing something that I'm saying to themselves. Like, that's an alpha personality. We're self-aware enough to not read something that somebody put online, internalize it to ourselves, and then, you know, let all of our emotions out ignorantly for the public to see. So that, I hope that answered your question with D Wade. I think she's the alpha. D Wade is definitely the beta in that situation. And you can kind of see, who's the alpha and beta in a lot of these Hollywood relationships just by who's constantly shining the most. You know what I mean? Like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen is the alpha. John Legend is the beta, right? Um, let's see, Nicki Minaj, right? She's an alpha female, but she aligned herself with a beta male, right? Her husband, I don't know too much about him, but he's a beta male. That's not, I'm sorry, not a beta male, an alpha male. She aligned herself with an alpha male. That's alpha female, alpha dynamic. Offset and Cardi. Offset is the alpha. Cardi is the beta. People don't really realize that, because they think, oh, female rapper, she's so hard. No, Cardi B is a beta. That is exactly why Candace Owens can just eat her for breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day, because she's a beta female, and Candace Owens is an alpha female, right? Candace Owens would not be able to get into a debate with another alpha female and appear to be destroying anybody. It would be like a stalemate. They're like, well, okay, now Candace got an alpha on her, and she's not, her bombs don't hit that hard. You know what I mean? But when you got an alpha female going after beta females, it, unfortunately, we eat them all day. We alpha females eat beta females all day. It's And that's why we kind of come off as like the bitches, because we know how to do it though. You know what I mean? We know how to do it in a way that we can hurt your feelings, and you can still send the email that we sent to you to HR, and the HR lady's gonna look at it like, I don't see anything wrong with her, but maybe you should match wits with her. It's not your match. That's how it is. But guys know this true. When you're in a male dominated circle, right? You got like three different guys, right? And you got two alphas, and you have three betas, right? The alpha dudes are gonna get all the chicks if they look good, and they're confident, right? The beta dudes are gonna be less nervous to talk to the chicks. You know what I mean? Like, they're the ones that kind of need warm introductions to a chick before they can actually really, feel comfortable talking. Alpha dudes, they're just like, hey, how you doing? You're hot. And if they're saying that to a beta, the beta's like, thanks. And she's offended. Alpha females, they be like, thanks, I know. You know, it's a difference in the woman. It's a difference in the dudes. You know what you're dealing with. So one thing I say, know yourself first. Know if you're an alpha or beta. And go to the beginning of this video if you don't know what the characteristics are. And then that's going to tell you how to, what you're dealing with, and even how to approach people. So when you go into that internet post and you see somebody's talking about, I wish life was just more simpler. And I'm thinking about, maybe really making a change, right? Like, they're thinking about making a change, right? And like maybe 4 weeks later, I'm really got to do something different. That's a beta. That's a beta personality, right? But alpha will read a person's post like that, and I'll tell you how that kind of post work. A bunch of people, a bunch of beta will, you'll get it. I believe in you. You're gonna get it. You'll figure it out. Call me if you need to chat. That's the betas. They're on the empathy train real quick. The minute somebody starts saying something sad, do you need somebody? I'm there for you. I'm here for you, right? And nothing wrong with that. You should be there for people, especially when they are clearly crying for help, right? But then 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 months later, that same post is sounding the same way from the same person, and the same betas are chiming in with the same thing. And alpha, after seeing that shit for 6 weeks, they're going to tell you to go to therapy, get your shit together, or they're going to delete you. Because apparently you don't want to solve your problems. You just want you want to just vent all your problems so that you can get a bunch of sympathy junkies to come and join your party of sympathy junkies. That's a beta thing. Alphas, we have a lot of control over our faculties, even when things aren't working right with us. So you may see an alpha post something like, crap, something didn't work out. But then 3 weeks later, I got something else moving. Because we're not going to stop at disappointment. Betas stop at disappointment and they stay there for a little bit before they move on. Alphas is just like, okay, pick myself up and go again. Excuse me. It's just a different in just that mindset. Betas are very emotionally charged. Alphas are more critical thinkers. They're more rational. So when you got individuals online that seem like they're coming off mean because they're being real, I think a lot of people need to understand this is an alpha personality. And don't look at these people as mean. Look at them as the clearest, realest perspective that you're going to need to solve your problem, in addition to all your altruistic betas. So hopefully this little rambling, because I am going to keep fine tuning my conversation on the alpha and beta personality until everybody starts thinking in their head, okay, I'm a beta. Sally is an alpha. And that is why I think Sally is a bitch. But maybe Sally isn't a bitch. Maybe Sally is one of the realest people of all, and she's not going to sugarcoat nothing for me at all. So if I come in with this sad story about X, Y, and Z, Sally's going to give me a real remedy and tell me to take it or leave it. And then Sally, being the stoic alpha that she is, she's going to move on. My time is up. I got to go. I got to go, guys. Bye. You going to say bye?
No, bye.
You said no, bye?
No, bye.
No, bye? Okay.
Well, yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye?
Yeah.
We just get out of here. Stop talking to these people.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, bye.
Bye. We got to go, guys. Ciao, Joseph. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Joseph. Send me, if you guys want me to do any topic, just send it my way, and I will do this random live with you guys, and we can just have fun. So, okay. All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye.